The Okanagan housing market just did something that it hasn't seen in years. In one corner of this region, the single-family home prices jumped over 12% in the past year, and in another corner, sales volume crashed by more than 10%. Same market, same month, but two completely opposite stories. If you're thinking about buying or selling or moving here to the Okanagan in 2026, well, these numbers I'm about to walk you through are going to change how you're going to read this market, because the headline numbers are, quote unquote, they're lying to you. And I want to show you exactly where and what it actually means for you, so you're educated and you know how to make a proper decision that's right for you. What's up, everyone? My name is Jack Bouvier, local real estate agent here at Vantage West Realty in Kelowna, and this is your May 2026 Okanagan real estate market update. And we're going to be using the numbers from the month in April to see where the market actually is, not where the news says it is, but what is actually happening. And if you have any questions about this whatsoever, feel free to reach out. My contact information is in the description below, along with my calendar link to book in a call whenever works for you. Let's dive in. So for combining all the regions in April, there was 1,464 homes sold against 1,466 homes last April. So that's only 0.1% difference. Total dollar volume of sales is $993 million, which is up less than 1% year over year. And I know those numbers probably don't mean much to you, but if you've only looked at that, you'd assume that April was kind of a snooze, that the same number of homes, the same amount of number of transactions and overall sales, same days on market, basically 73 days region-wide, but there's really nothing to see, quote unquote, if you look at those specific numbers. And I want to just say that that's incorrect, because the data point where most real estate agents in town aren't really talking about is that the new amount of listings that came to the market dropped 6.4% across the entire region year over year. So that means in Central Okanagan alone, here in Kelowna, Lake Country West Kelowna, it was down 16.5%. So there's not as many new listings coming to the market. So what does that mean in plain English? Well, that means sellers obviously stopped showing up, putting their house on the market. And when sellers stop showing up, buyers don't necessarily do the same thing. And that is the precise definition of a tightening market, even if the headline says that everything is flat. So hold that in your head, because it does show up differently in each region, with North, Central, and South. So I want to break them down here. So let's start where most of you guys are probably watching this or interested in living, which is the Central Okanagan, which is Kelowna, Lake Country, and West Kelowna, and Peachland. So there in Central Okanagan, there was 436 homes that sold in April, which is about 2% off from last year. The total volume was 361 million, which is slightly up. The list to sell ratio is sitting at 96.4%. So by the numbers, basically a normal April. But here's where it does get a little bit interesting. The single family home market, including lakefront, acreage, sold for an average of $1,163,745 in April, which is last April, the number was $1,036,000, which is up 12% compared to last year. So where everyone is calling this market flat or declining, the single family detached home market is going up 12%. And why might that be? Well, simply because of the inventory. Single family active listings are down 11.4% versus last year. So there's fewer detached homes to actually choose from, and the ones that come up are the ones that buyers fight over. And that's it, plain story. And essentially there's people who are moving up and wanting to get into those bigger homes. They're upsizing, and that's the whole point. So now flipping the script with condos. Apartment style condos in the Central Okanagan, there's 95 sales in April. Average sale price was $495,516. Basically flat year over year, but the days on market went to 68 days. And last April was 52. So that's a 31% increase in how long it actually takes to sell a condo in Kelowna here. Townhouses are a similar story. It was 71 days on market this April compared to 59 last April. So the strata market is cooling, definitely. The detached market is certainly heating up. And so if you own a condo or if you're planning to sell, this is your wake-up call, because if you are a buyer with a $500,000 budget, you have a lot of leverage that you didn't really have last spring. So that's the Central Okanagan. I want to talk about the North Okanagan here, which it does tell a little bit of a different story. So the North Okanagan, as you may know, is Vernon, Coldstream, Bouvier, Armstrong, and Enderby. That's the North Okanagan. So in the North Okanagan, there's 151 sales. It was down about 8%, but the dollar volume was actually up by about 2%. So the medium residential price hits around $653,000, which is up 5.75% compared to last year. Single family homes averaged 767. So that detached market in the north is the most balanced one in the entire Okanagan right now. But the data point that most people miss is the list to sell ratio ratio in the North Okanagan dropped to 93.99%, pretty much 94%. And last April, it was 95% across the whole Okanagan. Across the whole Okanagan, the North is where buyers are probably negotiating the hardest, I would say. As you could tell, it's 94% list to sell ratio. So the translation of that is if you're listing in Vernon or Coldstream, you should expect about maybe 6 cents on the dollar to come off of your asking price. And if you're buying, then there's some room to negotiate. And the North is where a lot of buyer-seller leverage is closest to balanced in anywhere in this market. Now, for relocators, especially those Albertans watching this video, the North Okanagan is genuinely kind of the value play in 2026. You're getting the Vernon quality lifestyle, still lake access, lower property taxes than Kelowna, and the negotiating room is very real. You have tremendous access to Silver Star, outdoor lifestyle, as the whole Okanagan does. Let's talk about the South Okanagan, which is Penticton, Summerland, Naramata, Osoyoos, Oliver, and Keramios. So there's 185 sales in the South Okanagan. Total volume was 123.2 million. And this is the only region in the Okanagan where dollar volume actually fell year over year, down 10%. So that might sound bad, but I want you to look at this. The median sale price in the South Okanagan went up 8.7% year over year. So how do you reconcile that? Well, it's kind of a mixed shift. There was fewer entry-level homes that were trading. The deals that are closing kind of skew up the price ladder, as the single-family home in the South averaged around $776,000, which is slightly up, and the single-family lakefront was $2.19 million, so which is average 62% up over last year. Granted, kind of on a small sample scale, but the thing is, with this South Okanagan, it's kind of a quiet comeback story. Sales volume in April was 1.23 million versus 87 million in March. So that's a 40% jump increase month over month compared to last March. So the South Okanagan certainly woke up in April, even if the year over year comparison looks kind of ugly. So if you are a buyer who got kind of priced out of Kelowna, the South still has the best price per square foot story in the entire region. And inventory there is actually growing relative to the start of the year. There's a lot more selection and there's a lot less competition as well. And if you are liking kind of a little bit slower pace of life in the wine region, then that may be your play. So now, what does this all actually mean for you? I want to give you guys kind of like the 4-second version of whatever your situation you're in, because I know numbers may not mean much to you if you're not that analytical type of person. However, so let's say if you're a buyer, your leverage right now is in the condo townhome section of the market, and especially the North Okanagan. The single family detached squeeze in Kelowna and West Kelowna is very real. If a detached home is the goal and inventory is down 11% with prices up 12%, sitting on the sidelines for a 0.25% rate cut is bad math. And so I want you to just kind of run the numbers. I'd be happy to do it with you, but essentially now's your time to capitalize if that is your plans. However, if you are a seller, the detached homeowner market is genuinely kind of your spring right now, your market, and the average sale price is up double digits. So days on market, it's quite manageable. List to sell ratio is over 96%. And so don't price stale. Condo, townhouse owners, those rules kind of changed. So you do need that sharper price point. You do need better staging, better overall market, overall education, and you need sharper price, better staging, and a realistic timeline of 2 to 2.5 months, and just a better overall marketing strategy. Pretending like it's 2022 and is just going to be how your listing is going to expire and then not end up selling. If you are waiting on the sidelines watching this video, what are you actually waiting for is my question, because inventory is down across all 3 regions. New listings are also down, and so sellers aren't necessarily in a hurry, and the math on waiting only works if you genuinely believe that rates will drop faster than prices are going to be recovering. And in Central Okanagan here, prices have already moved 12% in 1 year. So that's kind of the calculation you're gonna have to consider. Now, if you are moving here from Alberta or the Lower Mainland or Saskatchewan or Manitoba or Ontario or somewhere else, please don't price shop on comparables compared to last summer. The April single family number has jumped sharply, so I would highly recommend to get a fresh comparative market analysis on that home before you put in an offer, or you will most likely be leaving money on the table or just lose the home altogether. And if you need any help on what true value is on that property, reach out to me. Contact information is in the description below. I'd be happy to help out with that. And so that's the May 2026 Okanagan market update. 3 regions, 3 completely different stories, and one shared the truth. The inventory squeeze is quite real, and the people winning right now are the ones reading the data, not just the headlines. I kind of wanted to just break it down for you in raw format, and there's really no right or wrong way to internalize this. It's just more or less a kind of understanding for you. And I do these every single month, so if you do want to know what the next month's update is before anyone else, hit that subscribe button, totally free, takes 1 second. That way you don't miss out on any other future videos. And if you are seriously thinking about buying, selling, or relocating here to the Okanagan in 2026 or anytime in the future, happy to help out. Feel free to reach out to me. My contact information is in the description below, along with my calendar link to book in a free 50-minute strategy call. And I help people just like you every single week, and I'd be happy to guide you throughout your journey. Appreciate you watching this video, and I'll see you in the next one.